Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Actually It's a Mirror, where I talk news, celebrity, gossip, hot topics, you name it, I talk about it. And today, what are we going to be talking about as promised? I am going to be dropping receipts on this Blac Chyna and Rob Kardashian, Kim Kardashian, Khloe Kardashian, Kris Jenner, Kylie Jenner case that probably should have involved the E Network, but does not. I've got a lot to discuss with you guys, and I've got receipts. I figured out how to work my StreamYard. I am prepared with the receipts to make sure that we expose the truth behind what is going on. As you know, everything I say here on this channel is allegedly and just my opinion because I do not know these people. But before I get into it, hi, the Red Lipstick Hustler. Thank you for joining the live. I am happy to have you here, and we are going to get into the details. So, if you're not living under a rock, the judge has ruled that Chyna cannot redo her testimony. That is the latest news that broke in this case. And I have to tell you guys, I'm pretty shocked that the judge has ruled Chyna cannot redo her testimony. And I'm shocked because the judge presiding over this case, George W. Alarcon, I guess that's how you pronounce his name, he actually teaches ethics. He actually teaches ethics. He teaches ethics, which is honestly the morality of court of law. It's about doing the right thing, maintaining a high moral compass. That's actually one of his founding principles. I actually read a piece that he wrote about the three things that motivates him as an attorney and the three things he wishes he knew as a young lawyer and as a young judge. And according to those things that he mentioned, there's a few key things that stood out, which really got, see, I hope Linciani did a research on this judge because he has a moral compass that he guides himself by. And honestly, that moral compass is what he's going to make all of his founding decisions based off of. And one of the highest things he put on his moral compass is that he loves attorneys who does things that are outside of the box. He cannot stand when attorneys make basic arguments, that they don't get creative in their testimony, that they don't think beyond the status quo in order to create that element of surprise in the courtroom. He loves to learn from bright young attorneys. He loves when he's surprised in the courtroom with a legal argument that makes sense, but gives a compelling testament for why you want to move a motion one way or the other. And that is what I talk about when I was earlier in my life, when I talked about how important it was for Linciani to draw a compelling emotion out of the jury when giving her cross examinations. It is critical to getting progress in this case. Critical to getting the jury to understand Blac Chyna's plight and where she struggled. If we go back to my original key points in this case, what did I tell you guys? He wants to be entertained, correct. That is one. He actually wrote a whole piece on it. It was about 3 pages long. I read the whole thing. He wants to be entertained. He wants to sit in that courtroom and say, wow, you really thought of something that not even I, as a bright-eyed young attorney or a judge, has seen before. He wants creativity in the courtroom. He wants new things introduced. And that is why I said in my earlier I'm about to say testimony. In my earlier conversations on this case, I said Linciani has to stop thinking like a regular lawyer. Stop playing within the rules. Stop coloring in the lines, Linciani. You don't have to break ethics because he would frown upon that if you break ethics because he's an ethics teacher. But you still have to present your case in a way that draws a compelling emotion. Judge included. So I was shocked when Judge Alcaron decided to deny Chyna's motion for a new testimony. He denied it on the basis. I'm going to show you, actually, I'll show you the receipt of why he denied it. I got my little notes here so I know what I need to talk about. I got my agenda. So here's what we're going to cover. Let me give you guys the agenda so you know what's up. We're going to cover how Rob lied in his testimony with receipts. We're going to cover how Kim lied in her testimony with receipts. We're going to cover that Rob and Chyna, how long they were together, which disproves both Rob and Kim's testimony. We're going to cover Chris's testimony and her lies. We're going to cover Corey Gamble's testimony and his lies with receipts. Receipts on these lies. We're going to cover Chyna's lawyer's contract and how he fumbled, or if he did fumble, with receipts. We're gonna cover a lot of things. We're gonna cover the ethics that I'm gonna talk about right now. We got a full agenda. But before we get into that, let's talk about the motion that the judge denied today. Let me go ahead and show you this receipt so we can kind of read through it together and you can get a great idea as to why he denied this motion. So I guess you guys can see that. He denies the motion. He says, in China's, I got the wrong layout. Hold on. Stop screen. Hold up. Wrong layout. Give me a second, you guys. I'm new to this. Y'all got to be patient with me. Okay, so I want to share this. Okay, you guys can see it now. So China's upcoming trial against him, alleging that wrong one. Okay, so Linciani says, I see your decision on the motion. China's lawyer Linciani told the LA Superior Court Judge Gregory Alcaron on Thursday after he nixed the do-over. She says, but I empathetically insisted that the photo not be presented to the plaintiff, which is what she told the judge. So they're arguing, China's side is arguing that they actually asked permission to show Blac Chyna's new photos in the courtroom. But Linciani's argument is that is not what we discussed. We never discussed showing her nudes in the courtroom under any manner. We discussed you being able to present evidence that she would have to account for, but not those photos. And when I guess Michael Rose presented that to the, because you got to tell the judge, I'm about to present this exhibit. The judge looks at it before the witness gets to talk about it. I guess Linciani is saying, once I realized what he was about to do, I empathetically insisted that you not allow him to do that because it would really upset my client and impact her testimony. Because Rob had already viciously attacked Chyna with revenge porn. So that was like a trigger for her. And she was like, no, I said, I don't agree with this. And the judge said, well, rules are rules. If you do not ask to see specifically the evidence, you can't just pull a windmill in the courtroom and bring in evidence that you haven't presented in discovery. That's actually against ethics. You have to disclose to the other side every shred of evidence you have within a single case. And if there is new evidence that comes up before the case gets decided upon, you have to go to the chambers with the judge and say, hey, judge, I've come across new evidence that is going to substantially impact the decision in this case. And it then becomes the judge ruling to say yay or nay. But apparently that judge must have agreed. The judge must have agreed that they had grounds to show Chyna that photo. So I have to believe, I know people are saying that this judge is corrupt, that this judge is being paid off. They're saying a lot of crazy things about the judge, but I'm going to go ahead and say that I think that the judge would not have done something blatantly morally unethical in the court, because that is something that's going to stay on your stain as a judge for the rest of your life. And that even if Chyna loses this case, she can go ahead and appeal to the appellate court. She can appeal, and they're going to look at your ruling and they're going to say, wait a second, you made an erroneous decision here. And that's going to follow him throughout his career. So I have to believe that he made that judgment based on legitimate facts in the case and based on a fairness. Thank you for the super stickers and super chats. Appreciate it. Based on legitimate fairness about how he felt about the ruling in this case. And as I mentioned earlier, you guys, the critical points of this case is which Linciani had to prove is to disprove the premise of Blac Chyna, of Kris Jenner and Kim Kardashian's testimony. The premise of their testimony, you guys, is that Rob and Chyna were in a dangerously toxic relationship and that Blac Chyna was the offender of all of that activity. That Blac Chyna was the aggressor, Blac Chyna was the toxic one, Blac Chyna was the violent one, Blac Chyna was the unhinged one. It's all Blac Chyna. She is dangerous to our brother. That is a bold-faced lie. And I'm going to use receipts from their own testimony, their own interviews, their own talking on E to prove that it was not Chyna who was the attacker in this situation. The attacker allegedly, well, I don't know if I got to say alleged because I got a receipt. The attacker allegedly was Rob. Rob was the aggressor. Rob was the aggressor. And I'm going to prove this testimony. First, Rob says on his testimony that he was at the lowest point of his life when he met Blac Chyna. He was at the lowest point of his life. That is what he says. I was at the lowest point of my life. I was depressed. I never loved her. She basically caught me in the lowest point of my life, and she took advantage of me. He's basically saying he was a damsel in distress. Blac Chyna came along and took advantage of him, and that Blac Chyna then became the cause of all of his mental health issues and him spiraling out of control. Well, Rob's own attorney, Rob Shapiro, who is representing him in the other case he has with Chyna for the revenge porn, disproves his own testimony that Blac Chyna made him crazy. Rob Kardashian always had issues long before Blac Chyna. He had these issues long before his mother greenlit his reality show and allowed him to go on television and have a relationship in a public forum when she knew that her son, long before he met Blac Chyna, may have not been in the right mental space to participate in said show. Now let's talk about the receipt from Rob Shapiro, because he puts Rob Kardashian on blast. Blac Chyna did not cause you to spiral out of control. Blac Chyna did not ruin your life. Blac Chyna did none of these things, and your own lawyer says it. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Okay, I be having my screen share ready and then it don't be working. I got to get StreamYard together. Hold on, you guys. Okay, share. Okay. Kardashian's lawyer, Rob Shapiro, who worked with the star's late father, Robert Kardashian Sr., on the 1996 O.J. murder trial, said his client regrets his online attack of Chyna, and the reality star himself has been vocal about his mental health issues in the past, which he says led to his significant weight gain and type 2 diabetes diagnosis. Rob Kardashian, before he got with Blac Chyna, was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes after something that happened to him in 2015. He had a crisis. He ended up in the hospital. He received a type 2 diabetes diagnosis, and it was because he was binge eating. Oh, can you zoom in? Shoot, y'all asking me, like, can I zoom in? Let's see. Is that better? Okay. Wait, let me zoom out a little. Is that better? Okay. Rob Kardashian in 2015 had a health crisis in which he went into crisis over his diabetes. He was overeating. He was binge eating. And as a result of that, he developed diabetes, went into diabetic shock, went to the hospital, blah, blah, blah. He was severely depressed long before he met Blac Chyna. So please, Kris Jenner, if you are going to go on a stand and go and say that Blac Chyna is the cause of your son's demise, Blac Chyna is toxic, Blac Chyna is this, Blac Chyna is that. No, Kris, why did you negotiate a reality show for your son who is said to have social anxiety? Because if you read earlier in this article, he talks about his social anxiety. He talks about how he hates the camera. He talks about how he missed so many events of his family. He was not in a mental space to film even season 1 of Rob and Chyna. So how dare you try to scapegoat Blac Chyna as the person who caused his issues when he had issues all of his own? And this is corroborated by Kim Kardashian. Let's talk about what Kim said. Hold on. Oopsie. I wish I was better with these receipts, guys, with sharing my screen. I suck. Oh, no. Okay, there we go. Let's corroborate the story with what Kim said. Okay, what does Kim Kardashian say in her testimony? And this is before the lawsuit. This is a direct quote from Kim Kardashian. They're directly quoting her. She says, and I quote, "Rob can be really irrational, and he just has to learn to really take responsibility for himself and not blame it on Chyna." That is from Kim Kardashian. Rob is irrational, which is what I said in my earlier lives, guys. If you've been following my lives, I told you that I knew not for a fact, because I don't know these people. That's always my disclaimer. But I can read through things that are underneath the surface of people. I have a very good judge of character. And I told you guys, Rob Kardashian was irrational. He was volatile. He was dangerous. Blac Chyna goes on to say in an interview she did, well, I think ABC News, she said that Rob punched her. that he punched her and that he was volatile. Kim Kardashian wants to get on the stand and say that it's Blac Chyna who's the violent one. It's Blac Chyna who's unhinged. What did you say here, Kim Kardashian, when after your brother allegedly went on a violent rampage just before Christmas, which caused Blac Chyna to move out of the house and take everything with her back on December, right before Christmas? She moved out. She took all the dream stuff. She took all the Cairo stuff, and he went on that Snapchat rant. He had a psychotic break. He definitely did. And it is documented on E when Kim Kardashian and Corey Gamble go have a conversation with Rob at his house and said that they had to call a 5150 hole. 8 police officers showed up at the house because they thought he was suicidal. They thought he was going to unalive himself. So they had 8 cops show up. And when they showed up to his house, what did Robert Kardashian say during that interview? He sat on that couch and he said, I don't know why they would think that I would unalive myself. Did I seem like I was drunk? Why did the cops come? Well, they came because your sister knows that you have a pattern of behavior of trying to unalive yourself, which you tried multiple times during your relationship with Blac Chyna. And we're going to get into the receipts. You also tried to unalive yourself right after Blac Chyna moved out with the baby and took her stuff. You were sending her crazy texts that you were going to unalive yourself. That photo with the handful of pills. Oh, yeah, there's an entire thread on you, Rob Kardashian, with receipts from your old Snapchats. This had nothing to do with Chyna. This is about your irresponsibility that your own sister, and I want to know from Linciani, are you reading through social media? You have a wealth of information at your disposal to disprove most of the emotional testimony that the Kardashians are giving in the court. This violent rage that Chyna is allegedly on, this abuse, this toxicity, all of it really boils down to things that Rob Kardashian was doing. Her showing Rob Kardashian that she would pick the gun up and defend herself in self-defense, because Rob Kardashian, you always had that gun on the nightstand in the home. You intimidated Blac Chyna. You allegedly threatened Blac Chyna. You allegedly assaulted Blac Chyna. And I'm saying allegedly, but she filed a police report. She got a restraining order that a judge granted. She had enough compelling testimony for a judge to believe that she was in a domestic violence situation and that she needed to have a restraining order put in place immediately. So please explain to me how you are going onto the stand and why. And I want to ask Linciani, are you digging through the discovery of social media, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat? There's a whole feed on these people of the rage he was in, the binge eating, the depression, the psychosis, the cyber stalking, the cyber bullying that he was undergoing, that he was putting on top of Blac Chyna. They cannot make compelling testimony. They keep pointing to one event, December 14th or December 15th, 2016. That is the basis of their testimony. When Chyna allegedly puts an unloaded gun to his head, allegedly wraps a cord around his neck, allegedly Corey Gamble has to go there and intervene. Isn't that what you said, Kris Jenner? Isn't that what you said, Corey Gamble? But who else was there? I've got a receipt. Who else was there? Who are y'all omitting from the testimony? Because I got a bombshell receipt about who else was there the day of that fight that y'all did not mention, that contradicts your testimony. Let's get into it. The lies. It's the lies for me. It's the lies for me. Oh, it's the lies. Let's get into this receipt. Hold up, guys. Let's get into it. Let me zoom in a little bit so y'all can see. Hold on. Oops. Hopefully it's not too wide. The day of that alleged fight, December 14th or December 15th, 2016, Kris Jenner gives an interview, and let's see what she says. Kris claimed her security team, all of whom are LAPD officers, helped to defuse the situation, and that someone else called Child Protective Services. She says she was also in constant contact with Dream's nanny, but neglected to reach out to Chyna, saying it was complete devastation and turmoil. It was a horrible situation. They couldn't be in the same room together. I was traumatized. But let's get to the crux of what we see here. Kris's security team, all of whom are former LAPD officers. So you mean to tell me who's more credible on the witness stand, Kris Jenner? Los Angeles Police Department worker from child services, the nanny, or Corey Gamble, who has a violent history. Documented, if you watched my live from yesterday or 2 days ago on Corey Gamble's testimony, a violent history. Restraining order from his ex-wife, Cherie, stalking her, harassing her, intimidating her, bullying her, putting her OnStar on the car to track her location. He is not a credible witness. But you know who is a credible witness? The Los Angeles Police Department. You know who has to give true testimony under sworn oath of their career? The Los Angeles Police Department. So why weren't they subpoenaed to court? Why wasn't the Los Angeles Police Department, who they testify was there the day of alleged event, not subpoenaed to the court to testify to the validity of the events that they have been accounted for? Why didn't they call him to the stand? And you want to know why they didn't call him to the stand? You want to know why they're saying Corey Gamble rushed over there and blocked Rob Bennett? He was the only one on the scene. You want to know why she's reneging on her own interview that she made, that someone transcribed? And I'm reading from the revenge porn case. This is in the statement. Why didn't Linciani say, whoa, 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 Corey Gamble, are you sure you're the only one who was there? Because I've got evidence that suggests different, right from the mouth of Kris Jenner. Were you the only one there? Why are you omitting that Child Protective Services was there, that the LAPD was there, and that Dreams Nanny was there? How come they're not called to the stand? We need more witnesses, unbiased witnesses. It's definitely a setup. We need more witnesses, unbiased witnesses, who can testify to the facts of this case. If you want to say, why would the LAPD? She said her whole security team, all of whom, meaning it's more than one, which means let's call all of them to the stand. I want each and every one of them to testify as to what they saw on the stand during the time of the alleged event. And let's see if these stories line up the way y'all claim they happened. What about the social worker? Why she not called to the stand? When she showed up, if CPS was called, this is Chris's testimony. If CPS was called, right, and CPS showed up and Blac Chyna had alcohol on her breath, was allegedly in a cocaine rage, you mean to tell me that CPS didn't immediately have her taken into custody? They have a moral obligation, a legal obligation, and an ethical obligation to act in the interest of children. They are, and if they fail to, they can be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. So you telling me that LAPD showed up, former LAPD, I'm sorry. Now I'll give you that, Kris. I'll give you that. Former LAPD showed up and they said, you know what, Kris, you want us to take them in? And Kris could have said, no, they work for her now. They former cops. So I'm going to give you that they might not have done nothing. I'll give you that. But Child Protective Services, you want to tell me that a woman showed up, or a man, we don't know, showed up from CPS and they're going to risk their whole career? When they walked in and smelled alcohol, they allegedly would have seen Rob Kardashian beat up with a metal pole, with an infant child in the house, 3.5, 4 weeks old. You mean to tell me they saw all of that and they said, no, we're going to turn our back on this. I'm going to risk my career. I'm going to be in the paper trying to protect Rob Kardashian and Blac Chyna. I don't believe it. And why wasn't the CPS worker who walked in on that scene called to the stand, Linciani? Why weren't these LAPD former officers called to the stand to give true, objective account as to what they saw? You know why they're leaving them out? They're leaving them out because they'd have to tell the truth. And the truth is, it is your brother, Rob Kardashian, who's the irrational one, right, Kim? That's what you said, that he blames China for everything. I just dropped the receipt. This is back from 2017. You said that, Kim. You knew what type of time your brother was on. Even his own lawyer threw him under the bus and said, my client is mentally ill. He's unwell. Please forgive him for what he did to this girl in this revenge PORN case. He is mentally unwell. He's not okay. So Kris Jenner, who's responsible for your son's current status? You're his mother. You're the one he called when he a damsel in distress. But yet you decided to put him in a situation he couldn't handle by filming season 1. And now you want to blame Blac Chyna. Y'all want to email E and say Blac Chyna's the problem? She's the crazy one. She refused therapy. That's another thing. They want to say Blac Chyna refused to go to couples therapy, and I got a receipt to prove that that's a bold-faced lie. That's a bold-faced lie. Let's drop the receipt on who wanted to go to therapy and who didn't. Because I got the receipt. Let's get into it. Because it's the lies for me. It's the lies for me. It's the lies. Hold up. Let me get my receipt together on the got me all messed up. Here's the receipt on that. Back in 2017, when Blac Chyna originally got robbed for that revenge porn. You know, she was on the media tour. If y'all didn't know, she was on a whole media tour when that whole situation went down. She was on the media tour, and she went on a news show. And this you know how they take clips from what she said in a news show. She said this: I have been telling Rob to get help and go to therapy since June 2016. You know that I think they met in April 2016. No, because Dream was born in November. So they must have met at the tail end of 2015, because it takes 9 months to make a baby. So let's do the math. Maybe January, February, I think that'd be February, right? If you get pregnant in February, you'll have a November baby. Okay, so they got pregnant in February of 2016. So since June, when she was still with this man, she just told him to go to therapy multiple times. She says, I have been telling Rob to get help and go to therapy since June 2016. Now, granted, we have documented proof that Rob has mental issues from his own lawyer, Rob Shapiro, who defended him defended OJ, who was best friends with, well, not best friends, we don't know for sure, but very close to the Kardashian family, especially the father. He corroborates that Rob Kardashian hasn't been well for a while. He corroborated that since his type 2 diabetes diagnosis in 2015. So Rob been had issues, further corroborated by his removal from the show, further corroborated by his brothers and his sisters saying, oh, we're worried about Rob. He never leaves the room. He stays in a dark room all day. Oh, it's corroborated. It's corroborated. The details are there, baby. So what did Chyna say? I've been telling Rob to get help and go to therapy since June 2016. To my knowledge, Rob has not seen a licensed therapist, which means Rob Kardashian told her that he's never been in therapy. Now, this is from her testimony when she said that she was scared of him and she was vindictive and volatile. She needed a restraining order. This is a part of that testimony. She said, to my knowledge, Rob has never been to a therapist. So Kris Jenner, you know your son has alleged mental issues. You know your son has tried to unalive himself a few times as a matter of record and out of his own admission, which we'll get into that. You know that he has done these things. He made a whole rant. If you guys even simply Google it, you should see the crazy things he was saying to Blac Chyna, texting her, talking about some handful of pills, talking about you don't care if I take my own life, you don't care if I die. What if I put it on Dream's life? I'll do it right now. He's got a history of this. This ain't got nothing to do with me. This got to do with issues this boy had before I met him. And he said to her, I've never been to therapy. I've never seen a therapist. So Kris Jenner, instead of focusing on the money, how about you focus on the health and well-being of your child? How about you focus on that? Because of type 2 diabetes diagnosis, in which he has gone into diabetic shock, not one, but 2 times, because he went into a diabetic shock right after him and Chyna got into this fight. He started binge eating and went into diabetic shock. And ended up back in the hospital, I believe on December 28th. He ended up back in the hospital for diabetic shock from overeating because Chyna broke up with him and put a boundary in place. Yeah, he went into shock then too. So your son has a history of abusing sugar to harm himself, and you're not getting him help. You want to blame it on Blac Chyna? She the cause of his problems? No, she was trying to get this boy help. She been in his corner. She been his A1 since day one. She the only one who been in his corner, and we got receipts. We gonna prove it too. So, okay, so she says, to my knowledge, Rob has never seen a licensed therapist. She says, I'm in fear of this. He's angry, he's volatile, he's vindictive, he's physically attacked her, he's tried to humiliate her publicly. She said, I'm embarrassed by his post. I asked for order of protection so I can live my life in peace, free of fear from him. This is from her deposition, her plea to the court to get her restraining order. He refuses to get help despite my many attempts to help him since June 2016. Even before that, I begged this man to get help. I was trying to be in his corner. I had his back. And if you watch my earlier lives when she went on that Wendy Williams show, I told y'all she was in his corner. She had this boy back. It was his own family who wasn't in his corner, if you ask me. Because the receipts say Kim knew her brother was irrational for years. The receipts say Rob Shapiro, his own lawyer, said my client struggles with mental health issues since 2015 when he was diagnosed with diabetes. Everybody in that family know Rob got problems. Don't put that on Chyna. Don't put that on her. It ain't got nothing to do with her. This is about him and his trauma, not her and hers. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. Let's talk about what Rob had to say about Chyna in his own legal testimony to the court. And I quote, "She got me through my darkest times." Who got him through his darkest times? Who got him through his darkest times? Blac Chyna. Not his mama, not his sister, not Kylie, not Chloe, not Kendall, not Lamar, not Corey, not Kanye, and I love Kanye, not nobody. Who got him through his darkest times? The woman you are setting up, the woman you are abandoning in a court of law, the woman you are letting your family destroy financially, emotionally, spiritually. Who got you through your darkest times? Who are you praying on? Who are you lying on a stand? Blac Chyna. He told people that in 2016, it was her who got him through his darkest times. It was her who put him on her back and tried to lift his spirit. And I got receipts of how motivating this girl was to him, how she was in his corner. She had his back. She had his back. He betrayed her like the evil. That's evil. Get on that stand and lie like that so you never really loved her. You never really. So who's the user? You want to get, if I'm Lenciani, I'm pulling this from the deposition. If I'm Lenciani, who's the user? You're saying that you never loved her, but you put a ring on it, but you never loved her. You was trying to trap her. You tried to trap her with a baby. That I'm not saying that's what he did. I'm saying how it comes across. You begged her to get pregnant with Dream Kardashian. That's out of both y'all mouths. I want you to have my baby. Men be trapping bitches too. Don't act like pregnant men don't trap bitches too. You saw her, that thing was banging on the ground. Chyna was popping back then, getting the cover of Cosmo. She was all over. She had a cosmetic brand. She went to beauty school. She opened up her own makeup bar in LA. Chyna was popping. She was lit. And you begged her to get pregnant. You begged her to get pregnant. Begged her. And you put a ring on it and then say you never really loved her. So what was it, Rob Kardashian? Were you in the beginning of the conspiracy? Were you praying on this woman with a good heart who was there for you through your what? Out of your own mouth? My darkest times. Were you praying on her? Were you trying to trap her? Were you using her weakness for saving people, for being there for you, to trap her into a relationship and exploit her celebrity at the time? Because you had none. You had zero celebrity, Rob Kardashian. The only celebrity you had was the Kardashian name. Nobody was checking for you, and nobody was checking for them damn socks. So who put who on? Who got you through your darkest times? This is in sworn testimony. Who got you through your darkest times? Blac Chyna. You emotionally abused her, if you ask me. That's what it looks like. Okay? She got me through my darkest times. I wasn't happy in my own skin. I missed out on so many things. Okay? As I said before in my earlier lives, he was not attending events for his family. He was locking himself in a dark room. He was binge eating, and this is his own self-admissions, not me making this up. He went into a diabetic fit on more than one occasion that almost resulted in his demise. He was down and out, and along comes Chyna, who has been assaulted by your family, abused by your family. Your baby underage sister possibly took her man who, when she was a child, a toddler on the teat. In my opinion, he a grown man. The conspiracy started long before. And Rob, I just want to know, how deep into the conspiracy were you? I want to know, because you didn't love her. You said that on the stand. You didn't love her. You were using her. Why were you using her, Rob? Because you needed somebody to get you through your darkest times. She was your scapegoat. She was your emotional punching bag. Boom, boom, inside of your own mouth. Out of your own mouth, okay? You missed out on so many things. You wasn't going nowhere before Chyna. She had you going to clubs. She had you getting out. She had you going to Jamaica. Y'all was in Jamaica. Give us free in Jamaica. She had you in New York. Y'all was out. Y'all was seeing in JFK Airport. She had you traveling. You ain't going nowhere. You barely left California before her. You wouldn't leave the room. But she's so toxic. Please. Okay? Please. He then goes on to say, okay, he says he later admitted that he definitely hurt a lot of people. So he admits that Chyna ain't his only victim. Chyna's not his only victim. He has a history of hurting people because he said, I definitely hurt a lot of people. He said it. He said, but I would never go to that place again. He owned up to his faults. And then he goes on to say, the way I dealt with my, you guys like the live, like the live, like the live if you're here. Please do me that favor and like the live. And if you feel, if I'm preaching and I'm giving the word today, feel free to send me a cash app because, you know, these CPMs and RPMs don't be paying like that. I be doing this on the free ski, okay? But I love it, so I'm okay either way. All right, so he said, so he goes on to say, he definitely hurt a lot of people, but he would never go to that place again. He owned up to his own faults. The way I dealt with my issues wasn't the best. My issues, not the issues Chyna brought into my life. Nope. We got accountability here, Rob. Thanks for the accountability. Thank you so much for the accountability. The way I dealt with my issues. So you gave this testimony in 2016. This is after this violent fight y'all allegedly had. You go and say, the way I dealt with my issues maybe wasn't the best. It wasn't. The way you dealt with your issues of self-esteem, your issues with diabetes, your issues with mental health, from your own lawyer's admission. I mean, if you can't get no more unbiased than that, not your own lawyer throwing you under the bus, Mr. Shapiro. I mean, he kept it 100. No judgment from me, Shapiro. Don't be lying. See, that's the ethics comes through. But anyhow, the way he dealt with his issues wasn't the best. But nobody can make me happy but me. Exactly. You wanted Chyna to make you happy. You wanted to steal all the goodness out of her cup and fill up your own. Emotional warfare. Okay? But nobody can help you if you ain't willing to help yourself. Okay? Okay? Then he goes on to admit that he self-isolated when he says the following. I want to see everybody in my family every chance I get. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Meaning he admits that he was never around his family. He's self-isolated. But you'll never know what's going to happen tomorrow. No, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But we know what's going to happen today. And today you're not going to put your problems on the back of that black woman who ain't do nothing but try to help you. She ain't do nothing but try to motivate you. Something your own mama couldn't do. Okay? Now let's talk about the motivation. Rob Kardashian, who has type 2 diabetes, okay? Type 2 diabetes, with over 260 pounds, could not run, could not do anything, had a diabetic scare on more than one occasion. His mother, who has access to money, to resources, to opportunity, to exposure. His mama got access to everything. Everything. His mama got access to everything. And you want to know what she did with all of those resources? Not help her son. Not help him. She couldn't get him in the gym. But guess who got him in the gym? Guess who got him out of the dark room and into the gym? Running, losing weight, weighing himself, caring about his appearance. Who? Let's talk about it. You know, the one y'all trying to throw under the bus and say she was using him and all this. I hope I can play this video.
Let's go. Time to get up.
This is Blac Chyna.
It's time to get up.
It's time to get up.
That's not going to work either. Can't get out of this. What?
You can't get out of this. No, you can't.
No, you're not getting out of this. Come on, let's play.
Does it sound like they're violent or do they seem happy?
Are you ready?
Does it seem toxic? No, it seems like they're in love. What is she trying to get him to do? You'll see in a second. You'll see in a second.
No, you show me the money. You ready?
Yup. Yeah, work out. We're going to work out. You know, you're going to work out.
There you go.
Something your mama didn't get you to do despite your diabetes. Look at him on the Stairmaster. Does it sound like somebody who's toxic and draining? Does that sound like somebody who's using him? Does that sound like somebody who could have been in the streets partying and clubbing and drinking? She's spending her good morning when she got 2 small children at home. She's spending her good morning getting your son out of the bed, getting him on the Stairmaster, making sure he don't go into another diabetic coma or shock or scare. That's what this girl was doing. Where were you, Chris? Where were you when you were so concerned about your son? I want to know. You know what you were doing? Conniving behind your back, trying to help Kylie build Kylie Cosmetics. Probably, allegedly. You was out there trying to scheme, scam, and trick out the people and get one up on Chyna, while Chyna was in the house with your son, trying to keep him alive, getting him on the Stairmaster, invested in his well-being and his health. That's what this girl was doing. That's what she was doing. Doing what? What did Rob say? Helping me during my darkest time. Exhibit A. Oh yeah, she was there. She was there shooting with him in the gym when nobody else was, and trying to tear her down. It's the lies for me. It's the freaking lies for me. I can't with these people. It's the lies for me. It's the blatant, disgusting lies that we need to address, because it's the lies. Okay, the lies. Now, they get into a fight in December or 14th or 15th, 2016. There's a fight, a squabble, allegedly a squabble that Blac Chyna caused, that Blac Chyna had a ride, that Blac Chyna did this, Blac Chyna, it was all Blac Chyna. The whole thing was her fault. The whole thing, allegedly, her fault. Rob was so scared for his life. He literally gets on the stand and said, I thought she was going to kill me. That's what he said. He testified in an open court that he thought that either December 14th or December 15th, because they keep changing the days in the news. I don't know. I wasn't there when they got into the fight. But he testifies that he thought this woman was going to kill him, okay? Unalive him, do him in. He was going to be ghost. And Chyna was Tariq St. Patrick. That's what was about to happen. He was sleeping with the enemy. That's what he says. So you so scared for your life. You are so in danger. You are so traumatized. You are so battered and beaten. Then please explain this, Rob. Please explain this, because I want to know why please explain. Because the math is not mathing. It's not mathing. It's not mathing. It's not. Because it looks like you and Chyna were together on New Year's. Let's show the receipt. Y'all were together. You so battered and you so beaten. You so disheveled and bewildered, but look who's together on New Year's. This is them. Happy New Year's 2017 from @Rob Kardashian and I. In the video, they are literally sitting there with their New Year's glasses, singing Happy New Year's to one another. That's what they're doing in the photo. In the photo, Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's. You so battered, you so beaten. He said, look, it says the pair posted multiple Snapchat videos showing them sitting at a table enjoying dinner together as the clock struck 12. That's what they was doing. The pair was posting multiple Snapchat, not one, not two, multiple Snapchat videos showing them sitting at a table enjoying dinner as the clock struck 12 on January 1st, 2017. Happy New Year's from Rob and I. That's what she said. And that's what he said on Snapchat. But you so scared of your life. You scared for your life. She beat you within an inch of your life. You terrified of this girl. But yet and still, you were with her at a restaurant. Where was security? Where was security? Where was security? You're so scared. How come you was eating sushi? I wanna know. It's the lies for me. It's the lies for me. You were not scared. She did not try to unalive you. Y'all were playing. You probably tried to unalive her if we call a thing a thing. Okay? She was the one 8 weeks. She was the one 4 weeks postpartum from a C-section. She was the one nursing. She was the one with an infant baby at home while you was on a volatile trip that you apologized for. That your sister, Kim Kardashian, said that you were the irrational one, not Chyna. Kim could have said anything. Kim literally, back in 2016, when this all went down, Kim had no dog in the fight. This is before the lawsuit. Kim could have got there and said, Rob and Chyna are both irrational. They both crazy. She didn't say that. She said Rob is irrational and he needs to stop blaming Chyna. He needs to stop scapegoating her. He needs to stop blaming her. Stop blaming her. Y'all conspirators, allegedly, blaming her. She ain't did nothing. She ain't did nothing. The lies, the lies, the lies. So let's get into, I'm going to stop my screen share now. Let's get into the lawyer. Let's get into the lawyer. I don't hate these people. No, I don't, Florence. I don't hate these people whatsoever. Why? Because I do not know these people. Hate, I don't hate them. Just because I refuse to let somebody lie, don't mean I hate them. That does not mean that. But these people hate Blac Chyna. And that's a problem. Because you know what hate looks like, Florence? Since you want to talk about hate, you want to know what hate looks like? Hate is the ability to destroy someone's ability to make a living. Hate is doing something to somebody that's irrevocable. My YouTube channel that doesn't have that many subscribers poses no credible threat to the Kardashian empire, who runs a multi-billion-dollar corporation. I am not a threat. I can't hate them. That's number one. Number two, hate is trademarking the daughter of a Black woman, trademarking her name so that she cannot make any money without having to pay a royalty to her own goddamn family. That's hate. Hate is stopping a little girl from ability to make money on her own volition because she does not own her own name. That's hate. Hate is stealing somebody's baby daddy even as a minor. Hate is your fiance leaving you to go be with a child. That's hate. You want to talk about hate? Hate is crucifying your husband. I'm talking about Kanye West, crucifying your husband in the media, calling him a stalker, calling him all kinds of names when your husband created a hologram of your father on your birthday to make it memorable for you. He found something beautiful, the person you love the most in the world, and he paid a lot of money to have that man hologram to wish you a happy birthday. That's hate. Hate is spitting in the face of your husband who flew halfway across the country to get the sex tape remnants from Ray J, because you were traumatized about the fact that it was going to go into the media. He got on a plane, he flew across the country, he played top dollar, he got the stuff, and he brought it back to you. And y'all were going through a divorce. You want to talk about hate? You want to talk about hate? You want to talk about hate? No, I talk about facts. I talk about reality. I talk about the bullshit I'm not buying into. I will not sit on the sidelines while a Black woman is torn to the ground by a media conglomerate who's trying to strip her of her livelihood. I draw the line at trying to destroy somebody's livelihood. That's a hard line for me. So you want to talk about hate? You want to talk about hate? You want to talk about hate? Hate is emailing your employer and saying that if you hire this person, if you do business with this person, if you work with this person, we will quit. We will quit. That is what the Kardashians did to Chyna in written email. This is physical proof, Florence. This is physical proof. They absolutely sent those emails. You want to talk about hate? You want to talk about hate? You want to talk about hate? Hate is blaming another Black woman for stealing your baby daddy, who is a pathological cheater. Khloe Kardashian, let's talk about Tristan and what they did to Jordan Woods. You want to talk about hate? Hate is getting on the internet and using your social influence to destroy a girl who was literally kissed by your baby daddy. He kissed her. She didn't kiss him. And that's the testimony they both gave. So you want to talk about hate? Hate is getting online and telling 100+ million people, Khloe Kardashian, 100+ million people, that the reason your relationship ended was because of Jordan Woods. You want to talk about hate? You want to talk about hate? Do you really want to talk about hate? You want to talk about hate? Hate is taking the man from a woman who's 5 months pregnant. Chloe, meet Trisha's first baby mama, Jordan. You want to talk about hate? I'm 5 months into my pregnancy, belly bumping, and you trying to steal my baby daddy. You want to talk about hate? Is that what we want to talk about? That's what we want to talk about. We want to talk about hate. I don't hate these people, but I'm not going to stand on the sidelines while they lie. I don't hate them whatsoever. I have nothing against the Kardashians. Nothing. I watched all 14 seasons of the show. I laughed. I kiki. I had a great time. I don't have nothing against them people. Nothing. I do draw the line at you trying to do a smear campaign against people who has done nothing but show you consideration. And I'm talking about the smear campaign that started with Kanye. When this man has done nothing but worship the ground Kim Kardashian has walked on from the moment he laid eyes on her. And this is dating back to actual video proof. Worship the ground this girl walked on. And she stomped on him and turned on him in the media and made him out to allegedly be a stalker when he did nothing but love her. Rented out Met Stadium to propose to you. Built a home from the ground up for you. Gave you $1 million. And gave you a position in his company, Yeezy, in which you have crafted not one single piece of clothing. You have drawn not one design. He gave you ownership in his business. He put his integrity on the line for you. He met you meet his connections, Anna Wintour, Karl Lagerfeld. He put you in rooms you were not getting in, Kim. You were doing Carl's Jr. commercials, boo-boo. Charmin. So yes, I'm passionate about this. I am passionate about this. I am. And I know I'm passionate. And I know people get turned off by the passion. But I say this from the depths of my soul. That I don't believe that Kanye meant Kim any harm. He loved that woman. For real, for real. Loved that woman. Loved her. And she did him dirty in the media. She did him dirty. And that's not cool. So you want to talk about hate? Let's talk about it. That's not cool. I don't hate them people. I don't wish no harm on them. Just because I'm making videos saying that I think Blac Chyna got a case and they try to stage a coup against her, that's not hate. That's facts. That's facts. Nothing but stone cold facts. And this not even my life. But if we allow this wrong, this egregious wrong to happen to Blac Chyna, who is next? Who is next? This is a win for humanity, in my opinion. Who is next? Who's next? Who's next? Let's really think about it. Who else have they done this to that hasn't come forward that we don't know about? Who else? Who else? You want to know what hate is? Hate is Kim Kardashian allegedly telling Kanye West that he cannot help Nicki Minaj build her clothing brand and her cosmetic brand. Nicki Minaj did an interview with Joe Budden. You can go watch it on YouTube. The sit down. It was about 2 hours. And what she said, she reached out to Kanye West and asked for his help. Asked for his help on a critical project she was working on. And you know what Kanye told her? I would love to help you, but I can't because I got to be there. My wife ain't okay with this. I can't put you before my wife. If I was to do anything like that, I got to do it for my wife. You want to talk about hate? Hate is not helping Nicki Minaj. Hate is saying, no, you can't take your creative genius to help another Black woman get ahead. What threat does Nicki Minaj pose to Kim Kardashian? They're not even in the same market. They're not in the same arena. Nicki Minaj is a rapper and a beauty enthusiast. Kim Kardashian is a socialite and a businesswoman. What threat does she pose to you? What threat? I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know, what threat did she pose? But you want to know the threat she posed? Who played Nicki Minaj's stunt double in the video? You want to know who played her stunt double? Blac Chyna. She don't like Nicki Minaj because Nicki Minaj is cool with Blac Chyna. Let's talk about it. In 2013, they in 15, they cool. Chyna and Nicki cool. Nicki hired Chyna to be her stunt double in the video, a music video. They cool. So yeah, you want to be cool with my enemy? Now I'm going to shut your money down. This go deep in my opinion. This go deep. This go deep in my opinion. These are all allegedly thoughts of my opinion. Let me say that again. I don't want to get sued by nobody. These are allegedly in my opinion. But I'm telling you, I'm speaking passionately because it's deeper than what we know on the surface. The same way I said in my other live, this goes back to Amber Rose. Why she wanted Kanye? She wanted Kanye because Blac Chyna and Amber Rose are best friends. She was not checking for Kanye. Kim was not checking for him. But you know what? She needed somebody to help her after that almost lost her entire brand over that Chris Humphries fraud case. Chris Humphries called you a fraudster. Your own husband said that you are a fraudster. This is a matter of court record. He said you are a fraudster. And you was getting so much negative press that Kanye came to save you and made you an honest woman. But why was Kanye so desirable? Why? Because Amber Rose went on a Breakfast Club and dragged you for filth? Because Amber Rose stood by Blac Chyna on a Breakfast Club? You need a little bit of revenge, allegedly? So now Kanye looking real desirable? Get out of here. Get out of here with that. But anywho, let's talk about the lawyer. So let's talk about the lawyer. So the lawyer in Blac Chyna's case, her attorney goes on to say that he does not. First of all, her lawyer made some crazy testimony, and I honestly, the Blac Chyna's not Linciani, her lawyer who helped her negotiate the contract for Robin Chyna season 1 and season 2. That man perplexes me. He really does perplex me. He gets on the stand and makes some bizarre testimony that doesn't even make any sense and actually is against the law. It was unethical. And if your judge in the case, George Alcaron, I hope I'm saying his name right, is all about ethics. This guy's all about ethics. So if this guy is all about ethics, I think it was pretty unethical for Chyna's contract lawyer to get on the stand and give a bizarre testimony. He literally says that, number one, he does not oversee the signature of contracts in his own in his own office, that he don't oversee signatures. He testifies that he cannot confirm or deny whether Blac Chyna signed that document because he don't oversee signatures. Now, you are a lawyer, sir. You are a lawyer. You are a contract lawyer nonetheless. Your entire job, like your entire law degree, is hinged on your ability to enforce, to validate, to account for, and to judge contracts, my man. That's your whole job. You don't get the benefit of the doubt. You don't get to come on stand and say you don't know if your client signed a contract that was worth an estimated plus $2 million, because she was supposed to get about $1 million plus for season 2 of Robin Chyna. Then the contract had a $370,000 clause for taping episodes of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Plus, it had a potential $100,000 kill fee if they chose not to renew. So, homeboy, I don't mean to call you homeboy because you ain't my homeboy, but attorney Mosley, I believe his name is. I'm super confused, man, because that's your whole job. That's your job. Like, it's not even like Chyna might have a lawsuit against him, because you can't just say, I'm not sure if my client signed. We're not talking about you coming in to sign some routine paperwork or retainer or something, like you just retaining me, or you coming to sign a check, or you coming to pick up a check, like something routine. Then maybe you could fly with that. But you're talking about a multi-million-dollar contract, and you want to get on the stand and say you can't be sure if your client signed that? You want near somebody else in your office get signatures on contracts? That sounds sketchy to me. And if I'm the judge, if I'm in the jury, I'm like, that sounds sketchy. I'm gonna scratch my chin on that. That don't sound right. That don't sound right. I know it happens all the time at law firms, but you guys, he admits also in his testimony that E had become increasingly non-responsive to him. Increasingly non-responsive. That's what he says in his testimony. That after the season 2 they filmed season 2, E has stopped responding to him. That's what he said. So if I'm a contract lawyer and E stopped responding, the first thing I'm going to do is figure out what my options are if they breach the contract or stop responding, or i.e. kill the show. I'm going into the file. I'm paging the front desk. Hey, Sarah. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Bianca. Hey, Jessica. Do me a favor. Can you pull the Blac Chyna file? Because E has stopped responding, and I want to know what our rights and options are. I want to know what our rights and options are. I want to know. So that's what a normal lawyer would do. And if I'm a lawyer, I'm going to pull a contract. And then when I pull the contract, I'm going to flip through it and I'm going to see the signature page. And then I'm going to look at the signature page and say, well, this document doesn't look familiar to me. Hey, Sarah. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Jessica. Hey, Bianca. Can you do me a favor? Can you, when did Chyna sign this? Did she come in? I don't recall seeing this document before, because while you may not be there to get the signature, it is your job to review the document. And it's once it's been countersigned, you are a lawyer. This is your law firm's letterhead is on the thing. You're accountable for the details of the contract. You have to review it once it's been countersigned. And when you pulled it, how do you, as her lawyer, who seen her sign multiple documents, retainer agreements, routine paperwork, whatever, how do you not know that signature don't look right? That sounds sketchy to me. It sounds, his testimony was sketchy. It was real sketchy. It was real sketchy. And then he goes on to say that once they stopped responding, he eventually just billed them for the kill fee. What kind of lawyer just bill somebody for a kill fee without trying to make sure that they truly don't want to execute against the contract? It's kind of like you a lazy lawyer. Like you just said, oh, well, the time lapse. Like it's almost like Sarah, Jessica, or Bianca came into your office and was like, hey, Mr. Mosley, just want to let you know, here are some of your expired contracts for the week. And he just flipped all through them. Okay, this is expired. Okay, bill him for the fee. Okay, that's expired. Bill him for the fee. That's bill him for the fee. And it was just one piece of paper in the pile. He was billing for the fee. You didn't pick up the phone. You didn't say, hey, you guys, the contract has lapsed. I want to follow up to see if there's any interest in moving forward to production. Please respond by end of day, blah, blah, blah. No, he said once they start responding and the expiration passed, I just billed them for the kill fee. I billed them for the kill fee. So you build them for the kill fee and you ain't notify your client before you did that? Something ain't right about that testimony. You didn't call Blac Chyna and say, hey, Chyna, I'm about to bill the Kardashians for a kill fee because they not responding to us. And Chyna didn't say, well, Mr. Mosley, I believe that's her turning it. Mr. Mosley, what do you mean a kill fee? I just filmed the whole season. You mean to tell me they don't want to do the show? What you mean a kill fee? Wait, what kill fee? What are you talking about? Yeah, you signed this document saying that you was okay with them killing the show. Well, what? I don't remember signing that. I mean, this is real-time conversations that needed to happen. I don't remember signing that. And in that point, Chyna comes into the office and says, Mr. Mosley, that's not my signature. Who forged Chyna's signature? Because Chyna said that ain't her signature. Who forged it? Who is the person that forged Blac Chyna's signature? I want to know. Mr. Mosley, you looking real suspicious. I don't know if it was you, but you looking real suspicious. You look very suspicious, Mr. Mosley. You bill for a kill fee without consulting your client, allegedly. You saying you don't know if she signed it. You saying, you never reached back out to E to confirm. You just billed them. Like, I don't know. That his whole testimony is sketchy. It's sketchy. It was sketchy. So I just want to go ahead and say that. Let me get, I think I have the actual thing of what he said. Hold up. I can read it to you guys if I can find it real quick. This is what he said. He says, it says, meanwhile, Chyna testified that it appeared to be her signature on the agreement, but she didn't remember actually signing her name. She pointed out some differences in the way that she writes versus what was in the contract. Noting that she usually crosses her sevens and that the numbers on the contract did not look the same. Aside from Mosley representing Chyna as her lawyer in negotiations for season 2, he also worked as an executive producer on the show. Can we talk about that bombshell? I'm about to show you guys. This man was an executive producer on a show. the black executive producer on the Blac Chyna show. When I remember I told you guys arm's length transactions. Remember I told you guys that this is a conspiracy that started long before China signed that agreement. I'm about to share my screen. This dude was her lawyer, and he was also an executive producer on her show. Talk about conflict of interest. How can you negotiate in my best interest when you're an executive producer on the show? You are negotiating on behalf of the network at all times. Yo, you cannot make this up. Let me show you guys this. You got to be crazy. Here's the line item right here. Let me give you a screen. Zoom in good. Hope y'all can see it. Hold on, one more. Okay. Aside from Mosley representing Chyna as her lawyer in negotiations for season 2, he also worked as an executive producer on the show. Lenciani, baby. Lenciani, Mr. Mosley is looking quite suspicious. Quite suspicious. Chyna doesn't recall signing her name. He's so, and then he goes on to say that his firm destroys emails after 6 months. Ooh, it's a violation. It's a violation of the Oprah Act, The Open Public Records Act states that you must retain records as a lawyer for how long? Between 3 and 7 years, depending on the type of record it is. So, Mr. Mosley, you mean to tell me you run in a law firm where you destroy emails after 6 months when the law says, you can't do that. That's against the law. So not only are you breaking the law, you did not recuse yourself as counsel in a negotiation for Blac Chyna when you should have recused yourself. I am too excited. I'd be so passionate about this. I'd be so passionate about this. But he did not recuse himself. Ain't that some mess? He did not recuse himself. He did not. How are you going to be an executive producer on the show while simultaneously acting as my lawyer? When Kris Jenner, as I told you guys, they got mad points on that show. I smell something dirty in the milk. I smell something dirty in the milk. It's filthy and it's dirty. And if Lenciani, you should have asked Mr. Mosley. I would have been like, Mr. Mosley, do you think it's a conflict of interest to represent Chyna as her lawyer while simultaneously executive producing the show? Did you see that as a conflict of interest? At any point, did you see that as a conflict of interest? And let him just answer. Because, no matter what his answer is, the jury is like, well, that sounds suspicious to me. Just go ahead. Did you see that as a conflict of interest? Man, it's just blasphemy. And Chyna, baby girl, I told you this in plenty of lives. You need not take any counsel from anybody associated with your employer or with your competition. I don't know who recommended him. I would just love to ask Chyna, who recommended Mosley as your lawyer? I guarantee you it was Kris. Because if you saw my live yesterday, Kris was giving her all sorts of advice. Even on health insurance, I guarantee you, he was like, you should use Mosley. He's great. No, Mosley's looking real unethical. Talk about something we don't keep records after 6 months. What if you was, how you going to be deleting employee emails? You cannot do that as a law firm. That's totally against the law. After 6 months, we purge them. Lies. It's the lies. That's against the law. And if I was the judge on a case, they might have everybody on payroll, Miss Precious. They might. But if I was the judge on the case, it's looking real sketchy to me. It's like, wait a second. It's too many mistakes. First, you don't follow up before billing for a kill fee. Then you don't recluse yourself as a conflict of interest. It sounds like everybody was setting this girl up. You don't notify your client. You don't recognize that the signatures don't match on the contract. You her lawyer? I don't know. Mr. Mosley looking real suspicious to me. I don't know what he really did or didn't do because I don't know this man. And I'm just reading what he testified. And he testified that he was the executive producer on the show. And that gave me heebie-jeebies. Like, you can't be my lawyer and my boss at the same time. That's literally what he was. He was her lawyer and her boss. You can't be both. You cannot be both. Oh my God. Lord have mercy. Man, 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 man. And then he goes on to say, the attorney said he consistently gave executives Chyna's availability and shared with them that there was interest of other networks to film with her. So, you want to know what I believe if I'm Lenciani? This is in my closing argument, these key points. You know what I believe was the motivation behind the network dragging out negotiations? It had nothing to do with them being afraid of Rob and Chyna's fighting. It had nothing to do with toxicity. It had nothing to do with dysfunction. It was so she could not negotiate a deal with another network. It was so the other networks would lose interest because she was stalling and not responding. And it was also because Rob Kardashian, after they did season 1 of the Kardashians, probably had an agreement that says he cannot take his talent to anybody but E. Chyna had other options, but Chyna was being loyal. Chyna was being loyal. Loyal to the E network, loyal to the Jenners, loyal to Rob, helping him on the treadmill during his darkest times. It was her loyalty that did her in. Did her in. Because these people were not responding to her. Her own lawyer said that they wanted to know what was going on. And they put off other offers. This is the smoking gun. This is the smoking gun. Because didn't the E Network guy, Jeff Jenkins, get on the stand and testify that no other networks were interested in the show? He said, who he said wasn't interested? NBC, no interest. He named like 4 networks. VH1, no interest. He named like a couple networks. Didn't he testify that nobody wanted the show? Well, that's directly contradicted by Mosley's testimony that several networks were interested in her show. Directly contradicted. Directly. This conspiracy runs deep, in my opinion. It runs deep. It runs deep. Chyna herself goes on to say that Mosley, who was her lawyer, he did something wrong when negotiating her contract. Yeah, Chyna, he did do something wrong. He did a lot of things wrong. They were from the onset. It was at the beginning. He should have never accepted a retainer from you. Any good lawyer would say that this is a conflict of interest and would have immediately reclused himself as counsel and said, I advise you to get a third-party independent lawyer to represent you because I have a conflict of interest. My interest is with the show. I'm an executive producer. That's my interest. I cannot be fair and judicial towards you. I can't be fair and judicial towards you because I got allegiance somewhere else. And so to me, they set her up. It looks like a setup to me. It looks like a lot of people was in on this setup. A lot more people than we know. Because the math ain't mathing for me. The math is not mathing. You don't get to say that. You do not get to say that. You do not get to be an executive producer on a show while simultaneously my lawyer. You don't get to do that. And Blac Chyna, you got to be accountable for your own naivete. So naive, baby. So naive. So naive. You at the end of the day, I understand that you wanted to trust Kris Jenner, Kim Kardashian, Kylie, all of them. You wanted to fit in. You wanted to trust them. You wanted to believe that they had your best interest at heart. But you can never forget that at the end of the day, they were your competition. You guys were both competing for a number 1 slot on the show. You were both competing. They're your competition. They can't be your friends too. You know better, you do better. That's true. You know better, you do better. And I wish Chyna knew better. I wish she did. She has to take a little bit of accountability as well. A little bit of accountability. So what do I think is going to happen in closing argument? I think that if Lenciani doesn't do a great job wrapping this case up, talking about the conspiracy, the setup, how they broke her back so she couldn't defend herself, how they stalled, the E Network stalled, how her lawyer failed to do what he needed to do. I don't know if she can blame the lawyer because that probably would hurt Chyna's case. because that's kind of like you can't shift blame. Blame got to stay on the Kardashians, so she really can't say that. But she does needs to do a really good job tying this up in a bow and compelling the jury to believe that they sabotaged this girl and that they broke her back so she couldn't find options elsewhere, and that caused the economic damages. Yeah, she needs to discredit Rob Kardashian's testimony that he was the victim, that he was abused, bewildered, any of that. She needs to discredit him on site. He needs to be discredited because he admitted in his deposition for the restraining order case that she helped him during one of the most darkest times of his life. How could somebody help you in your darkest times but also simultaneously want to unalive you? I don't think so. I don't think so. They definitely used her, Vicky Sweets. They did. And I'm passionate about it because it really infuriates me. It really does. It really does. Because no, despite the fact of whatever the circumstances may be, Chyna may not be the poster of of a clean bubblegum Disney image female who, she's not the poster board of goody two shoes. She's not. But just because you have a little bit of a salacious past, just because you've been on a party scene, and just because you like to have fun, does not give people the right to take advantage of you when you're vulnerable. Nobody's even talking about the fact that Blac Chyna was postpartum during the time that all of this was happening. Nobody's talking about that she could have had postpartum, that she could have been struggling hormonally and emotionally. Imagine your baby not even being 1 year old. Now, postpartum depression can last for an entire year. Imagine having an 8-month-old baby at home, going online, and your baby daddy, fiance or baby daddy at the time, I'm not sure the status of the relationship, posting revenge porn or porn photos of you on Instagram while you're 8 months out of birth. She could have had a nervous breakdown. She could have had a nervous breakdown. For real, for real. That's not cool. Yeah, the fight was his fault. He keep hacking her stuff. He violated her boundaries, hacking into her phone. He admitted it. He admitted that he hacked her phone. He admitted all of these things. Like, he admitted all of these things. All of these things. All of these things. All of these things. Admitted by him. And she had a mommy makeover. Yes. She was going through a lot at the time. And despite her past, I don't think that should be the reason why the jury would vote against her because her salacious past. No, let's look at the facts as they are presented. She is not as bad as they may make her out to be. And he is definitely not innocent, Rob Kardashian. Neither is the family. You should watch what Blac Chyna's ex-best friend has to say about anybody who's an ex anything has biased testimony. No offense, BGCA, but once you become an ex anything, your testimony is biased. You got a gripe to fight. Now, I don't know. I saw some clips earlier where all the sisters felt bad for Chyna because of Rodman's. Yeah, I played that earlier in my live. Bernadette. I'm sorry. I played that earlier in my live. Kim said that Rob was irrational and that he's blaming Blac Chyna for everything and she's not to blame. That's literally what Kim said. Oh, she doesn't bash her, but she says light on her. I'll look it up. I'm not saying that Blac Chyna is a goody two shoes. I'm not. But you don't have to be a goody two shoes for the Kardashians to conspire to steal your show. I mean, the emails, they speak for themselves. They staged the coup. Like, regardless of Chyna's, what you feel about Blac Chyna as a person, I'm speaking on like right and wrong, morality at this point, and ethics. That wasn't cool what they did to her. And then trademarking her daughter name. Come on now. They really just crossed the line, in my opinion. They crossed the line. But anywho, what is she doing with her life? Oh, I don't know what they're talking about. No, she's not, and Kimmy either. Oh, I'm not sure. But you guys, that's the live for the evening. I'm about to go get my rest on, some R&R. I appreciate everybody who stopped through the live. Please like the live on your way out. It would be a huge help to me if you did so. I'm gonna go get some R&R. I hope you guys have a great day. And as always, these are just my opinions, my very passionate opinions, but nonetheless, they are opinions. I don't know these people. I don't have no inside scoop, no inside track. This is literally me giving my raw opinion based on things that I found that I interpreted one way or the other. And no, I don't hate these people. I actually don't have no problems with the Kardashians. I do have a problem with somebody not being able to take care of themselves and not being able to properly take care of their kid due to financial abuse and emotional abuse. I do care about Blac Chyna's mental health. You know, I do. I care about Rob's mental health. And that's why I'm on his mother back about not getting her son mental health support when, he's been falling apart. It's crazy. They're not gonna call Tokyo Tony as a witness. Tokyo Tony too lit. She is too lit. They can't call her as a witness. All right, you guys, have a great night. Like the live on the way out, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.